In some parts of the world, there's this saying, be strong like the bull. And that isn't for nothing. Bulls are one of the strongest, toughest mammals on Earth, but even their species have some individuals that just stick out. Stay with us and find out about 10 abnormally strong bulls that actually exist. Number 10. Kaku. Believe it or not, the full-grown Kaku bull can weigh up to 1,200 kilograms. With their sharp horns, muscular body, and extravagant immune system that can fight off any bacteria or infection, these bad boys are definitely not a joke. But besides their enormousness and intimidating looks, these cattle are actually really gentle creatures, even though this might seem paradoxical. Their short beige and brown hair makes them suitable for the Brazilian climate. They also have a resistance to climatic and environmental adversities, such as extremely hot weather. On the other hand, when they're faced with lower temperatures, they penetrate the woods, consuming leaves instead of grass, and protect themselves from the cold. These bulls are truly magnificently strong. Number 9. Belgian Blue Bull. We can't talk about the strongest bulls in the world without mentioning these bodybuilder-looking bulls. We are about to explain how that ultra-muscular physique came into existence. They have a heritable condition that results in an increased number of muscle fibers. This mutation allowed them to have lean bodies every bodybuilder dreams of. Because of their increased muscle yield, their diet must contain higher protein intake to compensate for the altered mode of weight gain. The Belgian Blue Bull is without a doubt one of the strongest bulls because of its unique heritable mutation. No one would want to mess with this bulky lifter, and that's for sure. Number 8. Texas Longhorn. These cattle are most recognizable for their extremely long horns, as you would have guessed by their breed name. Their horns can reach over 2.5 meters, or over 100 inches, for both bulls and cows, which is literally amazing. This breed's record for the longest horns is 3.29 meters, or just above 129 inches. A century ago, they were almost extinct, but now they're one of the most iconic animals of the American Southwest. What makes the Texas Longhorn special is that they're not only physically strong, but mentally too. They can look after themselves perfectly, making them the first choice cattle if someone is interested in open-range ranching. This peculiar breed is also known for another thing in its appearance, and that's their color. They have such diverse coloring that it can be almost any color or any mix of colors, but the most dominant coloration mixes are dark red and white. They're so unique and one of a kind. Number 7. Santa Gertrudis. The tropical breed of cattle was named for the Spanish land grant where the King Ranch was originally established. They are a product of crossing Brahman bulls and purebred Shorthorn cows. They are red, sometimes with white markings on the underline, with a short, smooth coat. They are tolerant to hot weather as well as resistant to ticks. They can weigh from 1,700 to 2,200 pounds, but their real strength comes from their resilience to outside forces. They can survive the bites from any insect and digest any parasite without suffering any effects. Also, they can survive the brutal temperatures of Australia. Their strength is their next perk we're going to mention. The breed is not usually a feisty or angry one, but if they become aggressive or irritated, you should know better than to mess with any of them, and just distance yourself. Number 6. Brahman. We can't talk about the Santa Gertrudis without giving some more info on their fathers. The Brahman bulls have saggy throats and a hump on their backs, almost looking like the mammoth version of turkeys. They can weigh from 1,600 to 2,200 pounds. As most of the bulls, it's known that they have the ability to stay cool in extremely hot climates. They achieve this superpower-like ability with the wattles on their throats and the lighter colors of their coats, which allow them to reflect the sun instead of allowing them to heighten their temperature. These amazing creatures are just meant to be somewhere hot. Number 5. Shorthorn. The Shorthorn is in one way or another an evolutionary wonder, which evolved from a race of strong Shorthorn cattle in the 1700s, and the 1800s Scottish breeders selected the strongest ones to come up with the breed that we know today. Today, we can find them whether we're in the US or in New Zealand, and they're used for both meat and dairy production. As a logically sane person, you would not want to bother any bull, but definitely don't bother the Shorthorn. They're known to be somewhat aggressive, so definitely watch your way around them, especially if they start acting agitated. These bulls have real strength of 1,800 to 2,200 pounds, and you really don't want to mess with them. There's something that you don't want to mess around with. Number 4. Charolais. The male Charolais cattle are one of the heaviest breeds ever, making them extremely dangerous. They can weigh from 1,000 to 1,650 kilograms, which is the weight of 2 grizzly bears in a car. Their coat is almost in every cattle white. They are horned in both sexes, which means you do not want to mess with the male nor the female Charolais. They originate in France and are mostly bred for their delicious meat. You will find them in at least 68 countries, and you may want to consider this as a warning because they are scary if you don't expect to be around one of them. Do not underestimate them in any circumstance because they're one of the heaviest bulls in the world. Seriously, do not make this animal angry because the consequences can be fatal. Number 3. Chianina. This is one of the oldest and strongest breeds of cattle of all time. The enormous breed has been catching our attention for centuries. Some poets from Georgia and Rome wrote about them. The Romans were so amazed by these cattle that they made sculptures of the bulls. They originate from Tuscany in Italy, and their coat is white with black switch. Mature bulls may reach up to 2 meters and can weigh up to 1,600 kilograms. Their powerful bodies are used instead of machinery in farming in some regions of Italy, and are even used for road transport in their area of origin. It is highly adapted to the steep, hilly terrain. These bulls are highly domesticated, but you would not want to try your luck by upsetting them. Number 2. Limousin. Throughout the 1800s and 1900s, these bulls could be found on farms and agricultural sites pulling and doing the job reserved for heavy machinery. The Limousin was used for draft purposes and road transport because of their enormous, powerful bodies that can endure maybe too much weight on their backs. They originate from the Limousin and marsh regions of France and can be found in over 80 countries around the world. These gentle domesticated cattle may be among humans for some hundreds of years, but do not test their love of humans because they will attack if threatened. We hope you like yourself enough not to bother them. It'd be a painful way to go. Number 1. African buffalo. Possibly, these cattle wear their dark coat as a warning sign for everyone. They are known for their aggression in the wild, so with that reputation, they may be one hell of a boss in the African wilderness. There are many stories about these bulls ambushing hunters after being hurt on a hunt. These bulls kill around 200 people annually. Furthermore, they're so dangerous that they earn the nickname of the Black Death. These bulls have earned today's number 1 in our countdown with their extremely bad temper and revengeful character. If you happen to come across one of these bad boys, never test them if you like to stay alive.